Hello, Tim.
And indeed,
Oh, wait, I forgot one for that. Right. Do all the live things. Bear with me. Usually Dan gets to say things, but he's not here.
Oh.
Make it go there. Run checks. Boo, boo, boo. It's not as exciting when I've got to vamp and and do all the checks.
Oh. So you can say it's not as exciting when it's just me, but you know.
No. Go and do one of... I mean, I'll do this. It's quite exciting.
Come in my love cupboard. It's bad when we've done so many episodes and you got so many audio clips of me. I have no idea what I was talking about at that time. I mean, that may be the case anyway, but...
So, fun thing with the soundboard, well, I mean, fun thing for me is I have like a dump folder, I call it, and it's just like if I'm editing and I go, oh, that's a funny clip, I'll just stick it in the folder and then I'll sort out the leveling another time and stick it on the soundboard.
Right,
Same with if I see a funny clip or something on YouTube, I'll rip it and send it straight to that folder and then I'll deal with it another time. I was going through the soundboard, adjusting some levels on things, and yeah, I just saw this random file called Love Cupboard. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Come in my love cupboard.
So, pretty good. Pretty good.
Points of anyone
game
can
says
remember
hi,
what
guys.
the hell I was talking about.
Yes. I think the lower thirds have changed themselves again.
Ooh.
How were they before? Was it like that? Was it like that?
I prefer
Let's go with that one. I like that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like... Oh, right. It defaulted to that last time. I think it used to be that. I quite like that now.
Yeah.
Hi, Chorus. Thanks for being our test. Although apparently everyone's moving away from StreamYard, going to another platform. So I'm going to find out what that's about.
Oh.
Well, there's been some technical issues with StreamYard in the past, which we haven't been stung by. And then I think when the Google Cloud thing happened, a lot of people went, that's it, I'm out, and moved on to another platform.
But surely Google Cloud thing isn't exactly their fault and could have happened to other things.
No, that could have been anything, I'm assuming. Hi, Governor Mitch. Hello. He says evening.
Hi.
Yes, good to have you with us.
Mighty fine evening to you all.
Let's just do that. I think I put the call... Did I put the roll call out? I think I did.
After all these years, I've just occurred to me to ask, do we know where Governor Mitch is ostensibly a governor of? I have no idea. I just read it.
Bewley.
I don't even know what country he lives in. I assume it's America, but I don't know.
I assume he's in England, and he's
Possibly.
the governor of Bewley, and he has
Bewley.
many posh cars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Don't have to tell us exactly where you live, but you tell us roughly, Governor Mitch. That'll be good. Just so we know what, kind of area you're governing.
Triangulating. We'll find you. I don't think we have that. Oh, no, that was the old system. I used to be able to tell, like, what system you're using, what microphone you're using, and everything. I don't get that with this.
No, okay.
Right, we're definitely all recording. We're definitely doing a thing.
I mean,
Governor Rich is from Oop. Governor Mitch said Oop North.
Up north. Oh.
Oop North. Lovely.
He's governor of the North.
Governor North. Gets out of there.
I think it means that you die at the end of season 1, though, Governor Mitch. That's not good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
filing the holes.
I've got also no idea what that's a reference to either. So there you go.
I've got a classic one.
Poke it out or pull it back in.
That's a pretty good one.
Mm-hmm.
I am Sean Bean. Or Scene
See?
Bean, if you will.
He got the reference. Seen Bean. I've seen Bean.
I'm assuming this is a Game of Thrones thing.
Yes.
Okay. You and your goblins and your orca-morcas and dragons and what have you.
Did you never watch Game of Thrones?
I saw the finale around yours.
Oh, right.
Wasn't great. Oh, no, I think I saw the episode before the finale at yours.
Okay. Even better.
Can't remember.
Oh, that one will do it.
Cool.
I mean, that's
all right. Let's do a show.
I've got no idea. But yeah, okay. Let's do that.
Theme.
Episode 4. Why, Australia, why?
We'll do it live.
BRB UK.
Do it live.
Worse teeth, better accents.
We'll do it live.
Hello, and indeed a podcast. I am doing the intro, and I've forgotten how to do it because I've been away for a week. It's BRB UK episode 642. I am Coleman. Hi. No Dan this week. Emergency had to go, but we do have a Tim. Hello, Tim.
We do. I'm sorry.
Tim?
I apologise for my presence. But
Tim.
in more important news, Lady Coleman, other than me apologising for myself, how was your holiday? Was it good?
I've just flown back in from Turkey, and boy, are my arms tired. Yeah, very relaxing. Went off to Marmaris. Had a great old time.
Marmaris?
A lot of Russians. Yes, Marmaris.
Okay. That sounds
Good.
like a made-up place.
All places are made up, technically.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, just
Confirmed.
my microphone here. Yeah, went there. It was lovely, sunny, very sunny. Came back. Temperature in London exactly the same. So that was fun. Got to see that. Yeah, I got to see a fair few sights and sounds. Very empty because people were worried that missiles are going to suddenly hit it. So that was fun. I didn't even think of that.
Right.
And a lot of Russians there. A lot of
Okay.
Russians. A lot of Russians. Very easy for them to get to. No visa required.
Fair enough.
I'm happy with that. Yeah. But otherwise, a relaxing time and fun to be had by all.
No, I had a
how was your
fantastic
week
Turkey.
off?
It was nice. Yeah, I mean, I kind of had a week off. What did I do last week?
Week
oh,
off
yeah.
from the show.
I went and played Star Wars last week, so there you go. Yeah, got to actually do
The
that.
card game, or just like in your garden, like with a stick, pretending you had a lightsaber?
Let's say both.
Good.
Oh yeah, mainly the card game.
Bumping
Also
into
the
your
pretend
cat.
lightsabers
Get
in
that
the garden.
walking carpet out of here. Cat goes. Something like that. Hey Tim, we're going to do a podcast because we're a little bit
That's
out of
a good
practice. I think that is a good idea, and we're going to start off as we do each and every week by talking about the games we done played. And before we get into the ones we're reviewing, just a
Yeah.
little update on the altars, Tim.
Right, I played
A little
more. I
update.
still like it.
I did. I got a little bit stuck. But I will say, I was talking last week. I heard that the performance on Steam Deck wasn't very good. And then
Right.
after looking on CD Keys, found the game for, what was it, 15, 16 pounds? And thought, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take a punt. I'm going to stick that on my Steam Deck. I'm going to take that with me
Right.
so I can play it on the plane.
Okay,
And I
fine.
did that. I got a solid 45 minutes of gameplay before it killed the battery. But
Oops.
I enjoyed it. It played very well.
Okay.
Mostly performed very well. The only real issue I had, I mean, it's downgrades the visuals obviously, and the
Yep.
things like the surrounding. The open world area doesn't look as good as it would on a console or on a PC. But I did find that every time you started a new journey, it would crash the Steam Deck, and you'd have to not the whole Steam Deck. It would crash the game, and you'd restart. But every time it did it, thankfully, it had saved at the point it crashed.
Right,
So
that's
it wasn't too much of a problem. So it is playable as far as I've done. I've done a fair few hours on it on Steam Deck.
right.
But it's not going to be the experience you would be getting on a more steady system
Okay.
than a Steam Deck. But it is doable if you wanted to do that.
I have to say, I haven't played much else this week apart from a couple of things which I'll mention in a minute. But I did play some more alters earlier in the week, and yeah, I really enjoyed my time with that. I continue to really enjoy it and highly recommended it to a friend of mine who I think will enjoy it as well. But yeah, like, it's one of those things where I don't know about you. Did you fail at the game at all? Did you actually? Because I did a major thing that I messed up. Like literally, I went out to go and get some last minute things, trying to maximize the resource gathering I had in the available time left, and then I discovered a couple of new things, messed around with them, and accidentally fainted, like outside. Had to get carried back to my thing. That continued to me. That made me automatically roll into the next day, which meant that I went over the time period and the whole thing got consumed by the sun. I was like, oh, but what I didn't know is there's the threat of that the whole time. I thought that might make you start the game again, but it's a bit kinder than that. It doesn't do that.
Okay.
I didn't know that, basically.
I haven't had a full like wipe with the sun eradicating radiating everything, but I've had an issue of what happened to me at night. I think I got radiation poisoning at night because I stayed out too late on my first run, and then on my second
Happens
run,
to the best of us when we're young and dumb, Coleman.
yeah, and then on my second night run through, I was I think I got overtired on the ship and passed out, fainted,
Yes.
and
you get up late as a result, but yeah.
Yeah, and the last time I played, I started making like loads of mistakes. I've got to a point where I've started maxing things out and going, "Oh God, I can't keep up with the resource management. I don't. I'm meant to be relaxing. This feels too much like work on my holiday."
Slightly overwhelmed.
So I instead went to South Park Fractured Butthole and completed that.
It's a bit more of a relaxing time.
Been recently replaying those two games, so
I do like that game.
they're Stick of Truth's amazing. Fractured Butthole's also good,
well.
but not as good.
Not quite as good.
Still very good.
But yeah, I think with the alters, it's actually quite helpful to know that if you fail, it's not the end of the game and you don't have to start again. This is why I mentioned it, just because I might not have discovered it hadn't I done that. And I'd actually done all the things. I was worried, and slight spoilers, but you have to achieving a thing to get out of the first area, and I'd done everything I needed to achieve to get out. And as I said, I was just gathering more resources, but did something silly, ended up fainting, and but it's actually quite good to know that it's not game over if you do that, so that you can push things to the limit. And all it did was make me restart the last day, basically. So yeah, I mean, you could paint yourself into a corner where you don't have enough time to do everything, and I don't know what you do in that case. But as long as you're not absolutely taking the mickey, then you can still kind of push it a little bit beyond what you would. You might leave yourself a bit more wiggle room, and you don't really have to, because if it goes horribly tits up on the last day, then you can actually reset that. So I just thought that was quite useful information for some people to know, because I hadn't learnt that until that point in that game, and I might not have learned that, and I was wondering if you had. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it continues to be a good game. I think I've hit that point where I'm falling off it a little bit, and mostly because of other games that have released while we've been away. But
That's fair.
We'll get to that in a moment. Tim, do you want to talk about Bionic Bay?
I do, but Dan was going to lead the charge on this, so I'll gloss over it fairly briefly and let him return to it with a bit more of an opinion, especially because I'm guessing he purchased the game, and I was very kindly gifted a code by Jimmy from Loading Bar, because he did an event for it and he had some codes going, so he gave me a code for the game. I've been meaning to play it for a bit, but anyone that hasn't seen it, Bionic Bay is a kind of physics-based platforming game. What's the kind of black and white platformer that I was trying to... Limbo. It's a bit like Stickman Limbo with physics, like a scientific Stickman Limbo.
Right.
And that's a very kind of brief elevator pitch of it. But it's got some like physics-based puzzles. I don't know, but there seems to be a lab thing at the beginning. There's not much story-based thing. It's very kind of stylistically presented, and it's got that kind of not quite black and white. This is more black and a color, but it's kind of silhouetted kind of figure and or background, and you kind of as I said, it's nicely stylized and kind of good, but it's more of a stickman figurine than a kind of cutesy mascot type figurine, basically. And then you are solving a series of physics-based puzzles. Anyone that doesn't know, I like puzzle games. I'm not a massive fan of platformers, and this is a puzzle platformer, basically. And so when it goes a bit more away from the platforming game and more into the puzzle elements, as it does in subsequent levels, I am a bit happier. But I think if you like puzzle platform games, this is a good example of that. There is a stylized game that maybe not everyone will take to the style, but I think most people will find it generally appealing. And I think it seems like a well-made game. It comes with a slight caveat of you have to like platform games, and I don't love platform games, so I think Dan will like this more than me, which is the other reason I think we should defer to his opinion a bit more than mine. But I do think there is something worthy of recommendation there, and I think fans of puzzle platformers will take to this. And there's some really interesting puzzle elements to the game, like being able to teleport from one area to another. Well, you don't quite teleport from one area to another. You mark an object, and then you can swap positions with that by teleporting, which leads to some interesting puzzles. But yeah, like I think it's quite good. I think one of the main things that I usually don't get on with platforming games is one of the things that this does well is that it's very kind with its checkpointing. So if you fail at a challenge, a platforming or otherwise, it instantly puts you back where you were rather than you having to restart at part of level and repeat lots of things again. So if you've solved that platforming section already, then you don't have to go back and resolve it, basically. So that takes away from the frustration and leads me to go, okay, I'll just have one more go because I'm right here. I might as well give it a go. And things that at first glance or when you first come across them seem virtually impossible, 5 seconds later you've actually done it, kind of thing. So I think it's good in terms of the player empowerment that gives you. And as I said, I quite enjoy the platforming, less the platforming and more the puzzle solving of the game. But yeah, I think it's an enjoyable recommendation from me, but not necessarily the type of game that I personally gravitate to.
I will say this looks very. I mean, so this is available on PlayStation 5 and PC at the moment. This looks very suited to a handheld.
So I've been playing it on Steam Deck, which is why
this does look like it's fully ready for a Steam Deck or a Switch if that was to come in the future. Maybe a 2.
It plays very well on that, performance wise and in general. And even though the stick figure man is quite diminutive in terms of like the proportion of the screen size that he takes up, it's not so small that it's a problem on a smaller screen, basically.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that more when Dan returns, because he's been actually quite excited to talk about Bionic Bay for a little while now. And
then
we took a week off, so we couldn't.
So you've got that footage. One that you don't have footage for that we'll come back to you next week, but I just want to mention very quickly because it's very cool, and I think particularly gamers of our vintage will particularly appreciate it, especially if they were fans of games like Desert Strike. And it's a game called Cleared Hot. There is a PC demo at the moment. It plays quite well on Steam Deck, and it's one I've been keeping an eye on for a while because I saw it on social media and then added it to my wish list. But it's very much an ode to the Desert Strike games. It's set for it works like quite nicely with a twin stick kind of thing. So you've got one that's controlling your helicopter and the other stick that's controlling your aim, which it used to do back in the days of Desert Strike, because that was mainly on Mega Drive, so you didn't even have one stick, let alone two. And it does get a more in-depth kind of story going on. Like there's a demo up at the moment that's got like a 4 or 5 level. Well, I think it's 4 levels that I've played so far. And there's a flashback one of you being in military action, and then you're going back to being a civilian but there's a bit of combat involved anyway. But yeah, like if you like those type of games, it's definitely one to check out the demo, and I'll come back to that and talk about it more next week. Were you a fan of Desert Strike at all back in the day, Coleman? Or was that
Yeah,
a bit
but
before your time,
I mean, I was very, very young, so I was
Yeah.
not great at it. But my dad used to love those games.
Way to make me feel old, Coleman. Thanks.
Sorry, dude. But what was the name of that game again?
Cleared Hot.
Cleared Hot.
Cleared Hot. Which is an odd term. They use it in the game that made me go, oh, yeah, that's why they called it that. But it's like your
Terrible name.
It's kind of clearance to shoot live ammunition.
Gotcha.
So it kind of makes sense. Kind of.
Cool.
Bad name, good game.
Terrible name.
Yeah, but it's really good
makes
so
sense.
far.
But
So
yeah, terrible
think
to
they
the
yeah,
to the average
polish up a few
person.
things, but I'll come back to that next week. But yeah, just homework for people. Go and play that game. Come back and give your opinions alongside mine next week, and maybe give it a try yourself, Coleman, as well. It plays well on Steam
Okey-doke.
Deck as well.
Okay. Shall we do a little bit of something I've been very excited to get my
main
hands
topic.
on. Yes, but also something I've been a little bit worried about because there have been follow-ups to games that I've been very excited for, Tim. Of course, we've got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which
Right.
didn't play very well on the PlayStation 5 and required a fair bit of patching and a new system upgrade and a PC launch to perform much better. We had Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a sequel that I was very excited for. Didn't perform very well on the PlayStation 5 or many other platforms and required a lot of patching. And I still don't think that performs very well on the PS5, even on the Pro. So another game I'm very excited for. We had Death Stranding, released on PS4, obviously.
Yep.
Then a director's cut came to PS5. They added more kind of quality of life improvements, made that game a lot more streamlined to play compared to the release version of the game. 60 frames a second, higher quality graphics, all that kind of stuff, all the shinies. And then when they started showing Death Stranding 2, I saw those trailers and went, there's no way it's going to look like that. Tim?
Yep.
It looks like that. Death Stranding 2 is an excellent follow-up to Death Stranding. And sorry, to give its full title, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach.
On the beach.
Yes. So if you are a fan of Death Stranding 2, Death Stranding, and you've been wondering whether to pick this up, I will tell you, totally worth it. This is an excellent sequel to Death Stranding. So that gets that out the way. If you if you wanted to know whether you needed to buy it
Job
for
done.
a sequel,
So
yes,
go home.
done. Did that bit. Right. So this follows on for the previous games. The events of that, the big cataclysmic event has been thwarted, and the events of that. You've got Norman Reedus' character Sam Bridges. He had the baby in the pod. He's freed the baby from the pod. Baby is now out of the pod, and they've gone on the run because that baby is technically property of the company Bridges, which is sort of like the American government because they're one and the same in the previous game. So he's gone on the run, and then the
So
events.
Bridges is on the run from Bridges.
Yeah, it's weird because I think the company is named after his family, and his name is Sam Porter Bridges because he is a porter. So yeah, it's Hideo Kojima.
I thought he
He's
was
a
a
bit.
postman, but anyway, a
He's a porter.
post-apocalyptic postman.
He's a porter. Yeah, the Kojima's a bit full on with the names when it comes to a lot of these characters.
It's a bit
He's a
full
man
on
who
generally common. So
yeah. He's a man whose heart stops every now and then. He's called Die Heart Man. he's a man who's a doll. He's called Doll Man. He's a man who's lost his hand to the tar. He's called Tar Man. You know, they she's a woman whose body from the neck down is very fragile. She's called Fragile, but not that fragile. There's
okay.
yeah, it's a bit on the nose with the naming, but cinematic masterpiece, in my opinion. I love all this crap. So yes, the events happened, a new story starts, and where in the previous game your mission was to walk over a very Nordic-inspired America and reconnect everyone via a strand, which is basically like setting everyone up on the internet again, because people are hidden away in the cities. you're basically doing the same but for other countries. So it starts off in a tutorial area of Mexico, and then you then follow on to Australia, and yeah, that's the main part of it. But so in the original kind of training area, you very quickly start picking up all the previous things that you got in the first game, your unlocks along the way, but you get them at a much faster pace. So very early on, you'll go, oh, I've got weapons. Oh, I've got a vehicle. Like things that would have made the first game a lot quicker for people that complain that it was a lot of walking around for many hours. So that stuff's a lot more streamlined, and they've as we kind of theorized when the previous trailers were coming out, seems a lot more action orientated, and that is kind of the case in this. But also, when you finish that tutorial area and you start getting you do get some new elements in there. In the tutorial area, they show you a sandstorm, which looks very impressive, and there's like lightning coming down inside a sandstorm. They'll show you like running rivers that can overflow and damage things along the way. There's lots of cool new things like that. But then when you reach the land of Australia, that's when
The fabled land of Australia.
The fabled land of well, it's been cut off from the rest of the world during the Death Stranding.
I mean,
so,
it generally is. So yeah,
that's when they really start showing you some new cool stuff. And one of the things,
kangaroos.
I don't think there's a smoking kangaroo unless it was in the trailer. I've not seen one. I know there was a smoking monkey in a Metal Gear Solid game that drank tab or something. Yeah. Anywho, so one of the big things in the previous game, you had BTs, the beach things, those like ghosts that follow you around and kill you quickly.
Are they really called beach things? BTs.
That's what. Yeah,
really?
They're called BTs, beach things. Things from the beach, beach things. There was only really one type of beach thing, and then there was kind of monsters that came from the tar as like level bosses. In this one, they've kind of expanded the enemies in this game, so you've got different types of beach things. So if you've played through the first game and gone, oh yeah, I know how to deal with these little floating dudes in the sky, you shoot them with special weapons or grenades and take them out. I come to the new area and I didn't realize it was a new type of BT called a Watcher. So I start shooting this thing, and his eyes glow. Whoa, they got eyes now. And then he disappears, and then tar surrounds me, and this gigantic body like comes out of the tar and starts attacking you and trying to pull you under. And I was freaking out at that point. Luckily they managed to pull me under. I've been lobbing grenades at them, like freaking out trying to run away, and it's worked so far, so that's been great. So there's new enemy types. There's also mech enemies that weren't initially in the previous game. You had a character, Troy Baker's character, called Higgs. He kind of controlled the tar in the first game. He had like supernatural powers, and he could conjure these tar monsters to come after you. In this one, he seems to have lost those powers, but now he's got anime style mechs that come after you instead. So it's proved very fun and varied, and there's lots of new stuff for you, and lots of new characters as well.
If you're trying to avoid a load of beach things, two destinations that I would probably avoid:
the beach,
Mexico, and Australia. Kind of a lot of beach.
Yeah, that's fair. No, so I don't know how far to get into this stuff, because I know Death Stranding's been out a while, but I know not a lot of people have played it. But the idea is the beach. Everyone has their own beach, Tim. Beach is like limbo to the afterlife.
Like my own personal beach.
Yeah, when you die, you go to a beach, and then that beach, you kind of work out.
And then you die.
You're either stuck on the beach and you're in limbo, or you're crossing over to the other side in some form or another. The Death Stranding event is the idea that all the dead come back to Earth as these ghosts. So they've come from their beaches. They're the beach things.
Do they only come to beaches?
I understand it's mental when you say it out loud.
Yeah, like it sounds like you're having a cheese fever dream, Coleman, and like
I love it.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima all over, I guess.
I love it so much.
It literally sounds like if you'd have described that while on acid, it wouldn't have sounded any less weird, basically. Metal
just
Gear
trying to
Acid
pull up.
or otherwise.
I'm just trying to pull up my PlayStation app so I can see how much time I've currently put into the game, because this game came out while I was on holiday, so I had a copy waiting for me when I got home, but not a lot of time to play it. And then I came back in a heat wave, and my room became very unbearably hot to play video games in. So I could play for a little while, and then it got too hot, and then I pass out and go, yeah, go do something else outside the house, and then come back to this later. I've managed to sink 25 hours into this game, and I can tell you, 8 hours of that was me messing around in the prologue.
I have a question though. We've kind of danced around this, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing from what you said it's sometimes related to that. But why is it called On the Beach?
That has not become apparent to me yet.
Right.
And it probably won't until like 125 hours into
Not
the
sure
game.
it ever will, Tom, and that's why I was asking. Right,
Well, I know it's called a Death Stranding.
Right. Don't get me started on that, because that doesn't make any sense either. Kind of like there's a very loose, like, oh, it's a strand, which is basically the internet, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, anyway, no.
It is if you're into Kojima games, particularly like the mad stories and cutscenes, like this one is for you. I will say, so in the previous game, all the cities that you go to, which you never see really, like, I think you see one city, and mainly you see like bunkers, and everyone's supposedly underground in the bunkers. You kind of communicate to people through holograms, and there was like celebrities that would have little cameos in the holograms. There was Conan O'Brien was one of them, Jeff Keighley was another, and this time, with the exception of some directors, a lot of people I'm assuming that's someone, but I don't know who that is. Right. And what I really respect, like what I really like about the way that Hideo Kojima picks his the guys to do cameos, he just goes, I like this film that not many people may have heard of. Let me just find the director and ask them if they want to be in my video game. And in a lot of cases, it's like he's flown them out to Japan, done a facial scan of them, and then go, all right, off you trot. We'll get a voice actor in because you're not part of a union to do acting. Yeah, and that was...
He does seem like a very frustrated movie director. Like,
definitely.
He'd much prefer to be making movies, but he's got stuck making video games, so now he just does that.
He definitely seems very Hollywood obsessed. I've always thought that for quite some time. But in this, I mean, like in the previous game, you had Guillermo del Toro, but just in facial scan. There's a completely different actor that's playing him. This time you've got what's his name? Mad Max. George Romero, is that right?
Oh, right, the director rather than
director.
the actor. I was thinking,
he's one of the main
Tom
cast.
Hardy's name, but yeah,
no, he's one of the
Miller,
main cast. But George Miller, that's it. I was mixing him and Romero up. But he's there. But it's his scan, and then there's a voice actor doing an Australian accent. That's
right.
Thank you, Kev. He also said George Miller. There is a delay on the stream, so. And then Dollman, I've completely forgotten who plays him, but that's another director, and again, a different voice actor.
Right.
So,
Let me guess from the name. I'll try and guess, right? Is he a man that looks like a doll?
He's a man trapped in a puppet, Tim.
Right.
And
like
does provide...
Oh, right. I was going to ask if it's a Muppet puppet, but I think I saw that and think it's more like a marionette type puppet type thing, yes?
Well... And here's the funny thing as well, because
I remember that from the previews.
Yeah, it is in the trailer. There's kind of a moment where you meet Dollman, and he's like, Sam, I'd like to come with you, and he goes to hook him onto his, so he becomes like your companion for the game. So you've got running commentary every now and then. Not too invasive,
like
luckily.
Mimir from God of War. Basically.
Well, that's it. So he goes to clip him to his back, and he's like, no, I don't want to see your ass. So he clips him to the front instead, like a keychain. And,
so he'd rather be staring at his junk all day.
And I thought that sounds. Is that like a reference to Mimir in God of War? And then I realized the president of the new president in this game is the guy who plays Mimir. So I think it definitely is.
Right. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, the whole thing, and Dollman like proves to be one of the more. He's the act of levity in this game. There's a lot of funny moments with the character, which I think is great. And I'm really, really liking this game. I'm not rushing through it. I'm doing as much side stuff as possible, like I did with the first
No
game. I mean,
rushing.
Death Stranding, the first Death Stranding, I didn't complete till last year, and I had to restart it because there was I was playing it on PS4, went to do other stuff, came back to it with the PS5 upgrade, and it was at a point where it's like, you have to get to this point in the game, or you have to get to this area in the game so you could transfer your save from the 4 to the 5. And the frame rate was making me feel really, really sick. So I couldn't do it. So I just restarted the whole game on PS5 and did it again.
Right.
Yes,
Glutton for punishment.
Kev has just pointed out, Dollman's car is trapped inside a doll and his heart is gone. It's obvious, Tim. That's the explanation for Dollman.
I'm not buying it, Colin.
This game's great. I love this game.
I'm literally.
I'm
not buying
assuming
the game.
I'm assuming Kev is also playing this game. It's so good. Yeah, if you're a fan of the first game, you'll know you'll love this game. If you tried it on the PS4 and went, this is too slow, maybe try the PS5 or the Xbox Series X or PC versions, the director's cut. See if those improvements are good for you. I think it's on Game Pass on the original game.
Do you think you can come to the second one without having played the first?
I think you should really play the first one,
Yeah.
just for the.
See, it makes me even less keen to play the second one.
So
yeah.
there is like a catch up thing in the menu where you go, oh, play this if you to recap the story of the first game, but it's just a slideshow that that Guillermo del Toro's voice actor is narrating rather than going through cutscenes and stuff. I would recommend playing the first game first, rather than going straight into the second one.
I just don't think I can be bothered. I know you like it, and
I love it. No, Tim, I love it.
You love it. Like, I really like. I loved the first Metal Gear. For a while, it was one of my favorite games of all time for like many years. And there are other games in the series that I have enjoyed my time with, but not spent that much with. Like, I never played the third one, but I have played bits of 2, bits of 4. My favorite is in the series now is probably Metal Gear Acid, which I don't think we'll ever see another copy. Or doesn't seem. I don't even know if it's playable outside of PSP anymore. But
I think it's just PSP.
yeah, and even then you couldn't get the 3D stuff that they did as well. But like for me, Hideo Kojima Unchained without someone viewing over his shoulder and kind of keeping him in check, it is not an attractive prospect to me. Like, the more and more unhinged he got as Metal Gear went on, the less and less interested I got. Like, I preferred it when he was concentrating on mechanics and action and not necessarily just going completely off the rails and going absolutely bat poop, I'll say, so you don't have to edit out.
So Kev again has recommended just watch a 20-minute story summary on YouTube and then go into Death Stranding 2. I personally would say play the first game because I think, love it so much.
To be honest,
I do
I'll
agree
just
with
wait
you.
for the 20-minute overview of this game and then I'll just watch both of them and then that'll probably do me.
I do agree with you that kind of especially when 5 was getting so kind of overblown with its with the length of development and budgets and the problems with Konami and stuff, and the game technically isn't finished. Like, they never did the final mission that they were going to add in later because of all the issues that went on there. I will say that like Konami were definitely struggling to rein in Hideo Kojima by the end of their relationship, and it was definitely an ugly breakup. And it's kind of that. It's like that Tarantino thing when Tarantino's editor that they used on all his films sadly passed away. Hateful Eight came out, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, and they are very bloated films.
No one is telling him to keep things in check, more kind of thing. No one to rein him in. That's a scary prospect for me, not an attractive one.
I agree for the average audience, like if you're into Metal Gear Solid, you may not connect with Death Stranding, but I love the bonkers Kojima stuff. I love that he makes games and goes, this is like a commentary on the Iraq War. This is a commentary on like technology being used against like a lower civilization. This is this is something about Trump's administration. Like he does these kind of messages and he goes, but every now and then a guy craps himself, or I've got a monkey having a cigarette.
But see, that's the thing. Like,
or a bloke's a doll.
I don't mind him being zany, and I don't mind him, having commentaries and doing weird things. For me, I don't mind something going off and being weird as long as there's a payoff for that weirdness. And I just find with Hideo Kojima, for my tastes, he's a bit too much being weird for the sake of being weird and not being weird with an eventual payoff that makes me understand that weirdness, if you see what I mean, or the need for that.
I think it's. I mean, I think there is weird for weirdness sakes, and as pointed out, Mikabe in the comments has said that there's the story going around that when they were playtesting Death Stranding 2, Kojima was getting upset because it was getting too much positive feedback, and he made changes to make it less mainstream. And I can totally believe that. That's the most Kojima idea. I think there is a payoff to with the first game. I think there's definitely a payoff. It's just like the journey of getting there. It takes such a bizarre kind of. It's like you trying to make a point. Like you like taking the scenic route and you repeat yourself several times. All right, that's kind of mean.
I mean, not untrue. It should make me like him more, but it does not. Maybe I see too much of myself in him. Maybe that's the problem.
Yes. But I do love it. It's bonkers. I mean, I'll say it is a definite recommend from me, but with the very, very heavy caveat of, did you like the first game or not? So there you go. It's available on PlayStation 5 now. It's $69.99 RRP, but you can find it cheaper if you want a physical copy and look around.
Absolutely not.
I think I paid 50 and I had some credit, and that was well in advance as well. So I was very lucky with that. But yes, that will eventually come to PC. I don't know when it will come out on an Xbox. I mean, I think PC last time it was within a year or a year after the game's release, but Xbox, it took a fair while. I mean, it was only a year or two ago that it came out. So yeah. Kev just a final one from Kev. He wanted to say that he didn't like the first game and he thinks this one is decent. So there you go. Opinions may vary. I love it. Recommend from me, Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Tim?
Yep.
Should we talk about some news?
Let's do that. Before
Okay.
it becomes old.
Microsoft sacked a bunch of people worldwide.
That's not news, Coleman. That happens every week these days, basically.
I know.
I feel very sorry for the people involved, but
It
it
was
news
rubbish.
These days.
It was rubbish news. The funny thing, I was putting the agenda together. I was kind of struggling with some news. And then I think as I was typing it went, by the way, Microsoft has axed 4% of its workforce worldwide, which is just over, with the risk of doing a Dragon Ball Z pun, it is over 9,000 people that have lost their jobs. And that is across... that is heavily affecting Xbox studios as well. Rare, Bethesda, King, there's been a lot of reported redundancies in different studios and studios being taken down as well. The Initiative was a studio that was very heavily flouted as when they first were announced. They were like, oh, we've got guys from BioWare, we've got guys from Blizzard, we've got guys from Naughty Dog, and they were just touting how many people they've got forming the studio to work on the reboot of Perfect Dark, which could have been that first entry into a long-running series for Xbox, but they've axed the game, Perfect Dark. They've axed the studio. The studio's completely shut down. I did hear, because we had this was in development since, I want to say 2017, 2018, around about that time.
Yeah, I don't think we heard of at that time, though, did we? It was a few years after that it got announced.
We got a teaser. I know it was before lockdown. We got a teaser. I want to say 2019, 2020.
Was it before
then
lockdown?
we got,
I thought it was in the run-up to the launch of this console, but how many years
Oh,
ago
maybe,
was
I'm
that
not
now?
sure. But
Anyway,
we
yeah.
did get, we finally got gameplay, which I think was last summer Games
Mm.
Fest. The summer showcase for Xbox, we saw gameplay.
Yeah.
There was a thing on Kotaku that I saw where apparently that might not have been actual gameplay. It might not have even been a
naughty.
virtual slice. It was a,
You like a good virtual slice.
yeah, it was like a Watch Dogs or a Killzone 2. It was one of those trailers that's like completely
yeah.
fabricated to go, this is what we're aiming to make.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's true. That's just a thing I read.
I
earlier
don't mind
today.
when people do that. Like it's a bummer when it doesn't deliver on that original like look. But I don't mind people developing that type of thing. Not necessarily sure it's a good idea to release it to the public, but I that got me excited for the game. I must say, like, true or not, I really like the look of it. It looked very ambitious. It looked like it might not be entirely real, and I don't know if that's just people reading into the fact that it looked a bit too ambitious. But we also don't know why it was cancelled. Was it just taking too long? Was it not in the right place at this point in its development cycle? Like,
We will probably hear from people within that
Yeah.
studio
Or was it just
at
a
a later date,
money-saving
I'm
thing?
sure. I mean,
But
personally, I
it's
think
sad.
I don't think you should put out gameplay trailers and call them gameplay trailers if they're not actual gameplay. Again, we don't know if that's the case in this one. We've got pre-rendered trailers for that
Yeah.
to satiate us.
But then, all right, I don't have a problem with them putting the trailer out. I think the problem is with the labeling of it. Like, you should just put this out. And this is like not necessarily real gameplay, but this is what we're aiming for the gameplay to look like. I think if you position it in that way, then people will be more forgiving if it doesn't quite live up to those expectations. But as I said, it did its job in making me very excited for the game, and I am then consequently disappointed that this is no longer something we will see at any point in time in the future.
Yeah, and one that I was disappointed with, Rare. They've been working on this game Everwild for quite some time as well. I think they've had about 7-8 years development time put into this game, and now that's been axed as well. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. There was rumors going around that the creative lead might have left Rare in kind of like a little protest about this. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and as well, just before this happened, there's all these rumors going, oh, they're ready to announce their new Halo game, and they're about to pump loads of money into this Halo game campaign, like the advertising and everything. And then we get met with this, and then if we then followed with this massive campaign of like, look at the new Halo game, it's not a great look. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Another one, there was ZeniMax Online Studios. They're the guys behind the Elder Scrolls Online. They've been working on a new MMO for quite some time as well. I think, again, like these games that have been in development 7-8 years, 7 to 9 years, like all getting cancelled. They were working on something that wasn't announced yet. Some people thought it was a Fallout game. I don't think it was, because you had 76 already.
Yeah.
But whatever they were working on, that's also been axed completely. So, yeah, a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of games have been cancelled. I think there's some, there's some credence to be looked at of, hey, maybe don't show off games too early, especially if you haven't got anything to show for it.
Yeah, I think it's more just the fact that this is bad news all round. It's bad news for people in the games industry. It's bad news for the employees of Microsoft that are directly affected. Again, not for the first time that they're doing this. We had kind of alluded to that being the case. But it's also bad news for gamers. Like, this sounded like some interesting projects that might have come to something interesting, and it's disappointing that they're not going to come to fruition. It seems weird to invest 7-8 years worth of investment and money and time into something, and then it have not deliver anything. I mean,
yeah. I can imagine if you're working on something. I mean, we saw this with the behind the scenes stuff coming about the Wonder Woman game that got canned. If you're working on something, you're pouring money into it, and then it gets to a point where they go, okay, it's at this point. How much more money do we have to pour in to potentially get it ready, versus like how much do we save if we just can it now? And unfortunately, I think that's what's happened in these cases.
But also,
it is a shame.
Is there space for another MMO at the moment? Like we've seen, like lots of the live service games, like that Sony cancelled and stuff like that. Is it just a bit too late for an MMO? It doesn't seem like many people have made a successful MMO in years now. Like,
I mean, from a lot of the opinions I've been getting from some of my friends, if the name isn't called Dune Awakening, then no, don't make an MMO.
Okay, yeah, there was that as well. Yeah, I guess.
That is very popular at the moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Showing a lot of promise as well for future developments.
Apparently, that's a very good game. But yeah.
Yes, it is a shame though. That is a lot of jobs to be announced in one hit. Quite crazy. I did mean to go through as well. There's an AI filter to take the studio internal emails where they go. Unfortunately, we've had to. We're restructuring our focus and all that kind of stuff. You paste that in, and it will go. Yeah, we don't want to give you money because we want to have money and we want to look successful for our shareholders. Money. And yeah, there's like one of the and I.
We don't care.
But the thing is,
anymore.
I think every studio that's affected, they all have like a different head of studio letter, and I really wanted to go through and paste all those in, but I totally forgot I was going to do that today. So that's a thing I need to start remembering to do.
Yeah,
we were speaking about
put it up as a thing on the site, and then we can reference it.
Yes. We were talking about the alters earlier. A bit of a slip up this week from 11-bit Studios. They've confirmed after some speculation and some screenshots going out into the world, they used a small amount of AI generated text and translation that ended up in their final game. This was spotted because there was a text running on the background of a screen in one of the areas, and if you zoomed in on it, you could see the AI prompts. It was like, sure, do you want me to improve it? Do you want to make it more snap? It's totally chat GPT. And they've gone, yes, that's placeholder. That wasn't meant to be in there, but also, while we're at it, we used this for some of there was also complaints about people saying that the localization on like Brazilian Portuguese was very iffy and looks like it was AI generated. And they've gone, yeah, we may have used it for some localization, which is not great. I know a lot of people that use AI for different projects. None of them are massively, hugely funded things. So it's not a great look for something that's come out and been backed by Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially just before a load of layoffs as well.
Hard. I think it's one of the things that AI will take over in the future. Like,
I know.
I don't love it, but I can understand them wanting to use it, and there are going to be little slips like this here and there as it gets implemented, and like you find it's the edges of where it can and can't be used and where it will slip up. But I don't think it's a major problem with a smaller studio using it.
I mean, a small studio, yes. Placeholder, yes. Something but I know they are a small studio, but again, they got the backing of Xbox. They got released to Game Pass. They got day one release. They got put in Game Pass Developer Directs and all this stuff. And again, it's not like this will just help. I'm using Google Translate to help me work out some things. Like, no, that is literally someone's job to do localization. Like, that you get a team of people employed to do localization. But it is taking away jobs from people.
That's the problem with AI. That generally all around the world going forward, it no matter what other people say about it, is designed to take away jobs from people. Like, that's what it's for. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
There are some things where that's going to be good, and it speeds up access to medical information and all that type of stuff, and there's going to be other times where it's bad, and I feel bad for people losing their jobs, but it is unfortunately the way things are going. So
it is a shame. Something I do love about AI is the AI detectors, though, because you're basically just taking AI and feeding it to AI, and it goes, yeah, I wrote that. Which is quite funny. Tim.
Yes.
Ghost Recon.
Oh, haven't heard from that for a bit.
Yeah, it's had a change over the years. What used to be a very solid kind of shooter got turned into an open world, online multiplayer, kind of like GTA Army. I found because I messed around with it way too much. And we've had 2 entries now. Last one not doing so well, I don't think, and Wildlands doing okay. I think more people picked that up in sale rather than day one. I remember. I think I bought you a copy of that you never played because I went, oh, I found this
Did
for
you?
£3. I'll get
Okay.
you one too.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
don't
there's one
think I
knocking
ever
around
played
your flat somewhere. But
Maybe.
yes, and the last one again. I bought the last one in a sale and played the heck out of it with Bleezy as well, and then kind of fell off it. But I got my money's worth on that game. Apparently, there's another Ghost Recon entry, which is heading to
They
alpha
won't give up.
behind the scenes.
Ubisoft. That's what they do.
Yes, it's codenamed Over, which
Oh.
hopefully that's not an indictment of the state of the game when it comes.
Game over, man.
Yeah. So if you're interested, keep your eye out. There could be a new Ghost Recon game in the works. No idea if they're carrying on with the big open world type thing, but or if they're going
Again,
back to their
it's
previous.
Ubisoft. It's what they do. Big open world
Yeah.
type things. that
And
aren't
yeah, and
terribly
there
well
are a
put
lot of
together.
microtransactions and costumes
Yeah.
and things headed, that are tied into those. The cool thing about those games is because the first one, it was out for it was a funny thing to play in beta for me, and then when it came out, I went, yeah, but I'm not actually going to put any money down. I've got GTA Online, and then when it all the stuff had come out for it, all the free patches and things, then they would go, okay, so you can pick up in a bargain bin, and now you can hunt the predator. That's fun. And then the same with the other game, the last game that came out, it got to a point and they went, okay, so it's like £10 on PSN, and also you can hunt Terminators. And I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. Really got into them. So we'll see what the state of the next one is. Apparently, it's slated for late next year. So we'll keep an eye
Can
on that
hunt
going
Steven
forward.
Seagal.
And will we get another guest character in there? Because last time it was what's his name? John Bernthal was in the last game as the
Right,
main
okay.
antagonist. Yeah.
Ooh.
Lastly, this week, if you
Yep.
remember, there was the whole thing with Helldivers 2, dual released on PlayStation 5 and PC.
Mhm.
And then at some point after they've got their sales out of the PC, they went, by the way, if you have the PC and you want to play online, you need to log into the PlayStation Network.
Which was very
and-
popular.
Yes, and and it happened with a lot of the games going forward. They've seemed to have got up to a point now where they go, okay, so it's not necessary that you log into the PlayStation Network. However, we'll
can.
throw you like some freebies if you do, like a free costume or something, which still gets you banned in some countries apparently. In this case, the players had spoken, and their speaking was, no, we don't like this. So they review bombed the holy heck out of Helldivers 2 on Steam, put it right down into negative. And Arrowhead Game Studios had to come out and go, okay, so it's not necessary for you to log into PlayStation Network anymore. Really sorry, but to
Our bad.
to show we're no chip on our shoulder or fish and chips on our shoulder, we're going to release a special cape to
Right.
signify the day of the review bomb. So the review bomb cape people have been waiting for since last year. It's finally been released. It's called the Pillars of Freedom cape. And if you're a current player or you've ever played Helldivers 2, that should be now available to you to download. And it's coming to Xbox as well.
I've not played that game for quite some time.
Oh, it's a good game.
I liked it, but
Yeah, it's a shame I fell off and we never really got to get together on playing the three of us on that game, because that did seem like a lot of fun, and I just played with randos until I fell off of it. But I remember Dan was really into that when it first came out.
Mhm.
It is a good game. I should give it another go at some point. But alas, Tim, the beach is calling me, so
on the beach.
I have to go kill some beach things. And with that, we come to the end of our news. But it's not the end of our news. 'Cause we have more. We have more news.
Some of our own news.
Have our own news. We have a little update.
Yeah.
We have a new store. We're with a new. What would you say? A new store. A new
Merchandise provider, kind of.
a new merchandise. A new haberdashery.
Yes. That's quite fitting. It's basically kind of the same people that were supplying the stuff before, but it's a new setup.
Right.
yeah. New
So
way of
from
doing
now
things.
on, you can buy our merch, and I believe it's just our merch now. We're not doing guest merch or anything. It's just all Big Red Barrel stuff. Yeah. You can get that over at bigredbarrel.dashery.com. Go there for t-shirts and mugs
Yeah.
and stickers and all those kind of things. But if you go over there now and spend your money with Reckless Abandon, 27% off all sales until 10 o'clock on Tuesday, the 8th of July, Tim.
Right, that sounds like an odd time, but it's in American time. So I tried to make it so that we have a long weekend of price discounts. One of the things with the new system is that we can set when stuff goes on sale, which is quite handy for us because whenever stuff was on sale on our previous system, it was hard for us to know when it was, and especially with time. So anyway, other than the fact that I'm not entirely sure when 10 o'clock on Tuesday in America is in this time thing, I tried to make it so that the sale goes on from now, when you're hearing this now, till Monday. So we've got a nice long weekend of the whole 4th of July Independence Day weekend where there is 27% off. We also have 2 new designs going up on the site as well. So I personally bought 2 t-shirts today from our new store. So
well
we
done,
already
you.
have sales because I bought the 2 new designs that I put up. One
Was
is
that the Meeples one?
Yep, the Meeples one,
And-
which is a kind of take on the Beatles board game related thing. And then we've got a Back to the Mandalorian design, which is just a silly design that I thought of, which is Back to the Future and Star Wars related. So someone is going to have that taken down very soon. So if you want that design, get it now because I'm not sure
I'm
how long
telling
it will be on our
Disney.
store. Someone will come after us.
I'm telling Disney and Apple. Not that Apple, the other Apple.
The other Apple. But yeah, if you want them Back to the Mandalorian one, that may be a limited time only. Not because we're limiting how long it is, but someone else may limit it. So if you want that one, get it now, especially this weekend while there's 27% off. But there's the Back to Mandalorian one. There's all the Tabletop Tuesday stuff. There's all our podcast ones. So all the stuff that we had on our previous store is now up on bigredbarrel.dashery.com. But you can also get those 2 new designs. And I also have a third one on the way, which is more video game related. So might want to hold out for that one, but that might be.
I will say this: they are definitely Tim designs, and they are
Yes.
definitely skirting some legal.
Yes.
See how
Also,
that goes.
like with the new store, we can set what product the designs appear on our product page. So if you go to the product page, all of them are t-shirts, apart from Dan's face, which is now on a mug. So you can buy Dan's
good.
mug on a mug. I recommend it.
Am I able to start submitting t-shirt designs now?
You've always been able to. You just never done so.
Okay, I'm gonna make so many dicks on t-shirts.
You cannot resist the dicks.
Exactly, but no. That'll get us in even more trouble.
No, but I'll disguise them. Like this one's got a Master Chief helmet on its helmet.
This one's got a moustache.
No, I'll make them gaming themed. Oh yeah, moustache and a Mario hat.
Yeah.
One will
That'll
look
get us
like a
saved by
one-up
Mario.
mushroom.
Not that type of mushroom. Trump's mushroom.
I'll make one look like a warp pipe. Anyway, that is bigredbarrel.dashery.com. Maybe I'll make an auto forward for that. I'll look into that.
I don't even know
Hey,
what
Tim.
that is.
I'll tell you off mic.
Okay.
Tabletop Tuesday is a Tabletop Tuesday
It is.
or something to that effect.
Yep.
Tell me about it.
Each and every Tuesday, we do an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington.
Stoke Newington.
Stoke Newington, Coleman.
Newington.
And this week's event is a real doozy. Why is that, Coleman? Why is that?
Why is that? Is it because it's to do? It's basically the movie Coco as a video game, as a board
Kind
game.
of.
Sorry.
It's
Yeah.
called Ofrenda. It's based on kind of the Mexican Day and the Dead thing where you're putting together an altar to honor your dead relatives. That sounds a bit grim, but this one's quite nice. It's got a nice, vibrant art style. But why is it extra special, Coleman? Do you know why? Because we have a good game almost every week. Every week. But why is this one extra special?
I don't know, Tim. Why don't you tell me?
Because it's basically a launch party for this game. This game is launching
Oh.
on Tuesday in America, but it won't actually be available in the UK for a couple of days after our event. So the only place to play this game in the UK at the moment will be
can I
at
hit one
Loading
of
Bar.
these?
And if you win it, you'll be the first person in the UK to actually have your own copy of the game.
Does that mean I can hit one of these? Can I hit one of these?
What? There you go. Extra special. So, like, it's a nice big board game. It looks quite cool. It's a kind of card collecting, card drafting, and like kind of pattern puzzle kind of laying sort of game. Looks very cool. I really like the look of it. I haven't played it yet myself, but it looks really good. And yeah, like it will make for a really good prize because one, it's a nice big board game, and two, you literally can't buy it in the shops until a couple of days after the event. So if that floats your boat, if you've ever fancied coming along to Tabletop Tuesday, it's a real good one to come along to because it's going to be a really interesting game that, yeah, will make for a great prize as well. So come along and join us. If you want some more details, you can join the over 2,200 and nearly 50 people that are in our meetup group on meetup.com/Tabletop Tuesdays. We're also currently, and I'll say this quietly in case anyone's listening, Coleman, but we're currently the highest rated board game group on meetup.com.
Wow.
4.9 out of 5.
How popular is meetup.com? Out of interest.
I mean, reasonably, I think. We've got like 280 reviews, I think, something like that. And there's like 2,250, nearly 50 people in our...
Find out there's 2 board game events on meetup.com and one's only got 20 people.
Quite a few,
one's a bloke's basement.
But we are actually outscoring them, I noticed the other day, in ratings. So thank you very much to people who've been kind enough to leave a review on that. But otherwise, you can see some more details on the right-hand side of bigredbarrel.com. There's a little button, well, quite a big button that you can smack to get some more details on Tabletop Tuesday. Also, just so you know, I also always put up a video, if there's one available, to help teach you the game. So that is the case this week as well. All those details are up on bigredbarrel.com. Or you can search for Tabletop Tuesday on meetup.com. Or you can just come along to the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington, join us this here Tuesday, and you can win yourself a copy of Ofrenda.
Wow, that is Tabletop Tuesdays at the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington this Tuesday for Ofrenda. Yes. Kind of reminds me of the, is it No Country for Old Men? We call him Friendo. Friendo. All right. Yeah. Hey, if you've enjoyed the show, you got... if you've enjoyed this show, you little weirdo. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You can find more of us at bigredbarrel.com. That is the website that hosts this here podcast and other things, including links to our social medias and our Discord, which if you go to our Discord, you can chat with us. You can say hello. You can ask us questions that we might put on the show and discuss and turn into TikToks and get told off by people on TikTok because they say we're too old to be playing video games, let alone talking about them. And I say, have you not even heard of Giant Bomb? Have you not even heard of like a Jeff Gertzman or someone? He's not even
Maybe they don't do the TikTokies, Mr.
Coleman. Anyway, yeah, we're old, and thanks for listening and thanks for watching. No questions this week. We are going to get it out of here. This has been a very long end of show, Tim. Like, very long.
We had a new show, a new store to like.
We had a new store. We had a product launch.
Cool game, and yeah.
Good. Yeah. Dan transitioned. That was nice.
To being on the beach.
Transitioned.
Told you.
Being on the beach.
Yeah.
Is he a beach?
I was on the
now?
beach.
You were a beach thing.
He's a baby in a pod. Anyway, for this episode of BRB UK 642, I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim.
And, well, I was going to say I've been on the beach, but we've already done that bit. So I will say...
You've already been on the beach.
If you go and play some music in your private quarters and you pick the right song, Dollman will do a little dance party for you, and it's pretty freaking cool. You might have seen it go around on the internet. Until next time, dear listeners and dear viewers, goodbye.
Just weird for the sake of being weird.
Boring.
Yes. Come in my love cupboard.
Poke it out or pull it back in. SOS!
Cannot resist the dicks.
I actually hate VR.
Big old monocles. Filing the holes. I'm not sure I can get my fist in.
All right, I'll probably just have a flicking session.
Basically, blah, 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 no.
I'm here. Surely,
Yeah.
like, when Dan's not here, you should play more Dan sound effects to balance out the lack of Dan.
Daniel, you in for a beating?
Nah.
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 Arr.
Arr.
Cliddy-doo-pule.
It's a pretty good one.
With your massive dick.
Yeah.
So good slaphead action.
Where was I? Oh, yeah.
Worst episode ever.
Good. It's not an episode until you've done that, Coleman.
Yes. Thank you all for watching. Watching along with the live stream. This is the bit that doesn't go on the show. How are you?
Yeah.
Feel free
Yeah.
to say swears now. Not you. They can.
F and
George Miller.
bitches. George Miller.
If this was Boom, we'd go, Big Red Barrel, Boom. Spiky Chris says,
Not boom.
Jesus, that was loud.
What was the whole podcast?
I don't know. He
Coleman?
said that, and I got a little paranoid. Was I loud? Was the sound? I didn't hit the soundboard.
Maybe it was.
Was
Jesus.
there a noise?
Jesus
Was
was
a noi-
loud.
Jesus was loud. Jesus, comma, that was loud. Or Jesus,
Yeah.
no, Jesus, what? Who knows? Run up to this console was before lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be right. It's just, yeah, lockdown seems a long
What's-
time ago in this.
What's
generation.
UTC?
UTC.
Oh, that's the time.
That's the time zone.
code.
That's why I got
That's the
confused.
time
I couldn't
zone.
be bothered to look up what the time zone was, so I just put on extra hours. So we definitely.
I
went
thought
to
that's when you
Monday.
get an itchy scrotch, but that's a
Yeah.
UTI.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also that.
Trying to remember if I had anything new. I don't think I do. This one
Well,
says
you've been
yo.
on holiday and on the beach, Coleman. So you know.
Well, I
you've been
did-
A busy
I-
boy.
I did go and
Too busy to
boost some
fiddle
of
with
the.
your soundboard.
Well, no, I had to fix the soundboard again. Something went very, very.
Oh no!
wrong. But I did make a dedicated Tim and Dan page rather than grouping them all into one, so that's good. Yeah.
Filing the holes.
I
Okay.
like that one. Yeah. Defiling the holes, Tim.
Like the time I caught a ferry over to Shelbyville. I needed a new heel for my shoe. I decided to go down to Morganville, which is what they used to call Shelbyville in those days. So basically, I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel. And in those days, nickels had pictures
Should I
of
be disturbed
bumblebees
by
on
the
them.
fact
Give me
that
5
AI
bees
Tim
for a
sounds
quarter,
better
you'd
than the real
basically
thing?
say. Now, where were we?
I shortened it up a bit
The
as well.
important thing was I had an onion on my belt, which basically was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get were those.
Just turn him down. Fade him down.
Well, because when I made it before, he did a lot of ers and ums and basicallys and stuff, and then I went for I'm just going to
'Cause
clip
that's
all
more
those out. 'Cause
realistic.
It takes ages to do. So yeah, Mickey B says time zone. That's good. Time zone.
Time zone.
All right, we're going to go now, guys. But of course, as we always say, bye.
Bye.
Say bye again, Tim.
Have a good
One more
week,
time.
everybody.
Have a
Play
good
some
4th of
games.
July if you are so well inclined to do so.
Oh yeah.
Au revoir.